you want me to talk about first about who am I and people like Efrat and where would you come from? Well, there are in Israel the whole movement around this COVID issue, which is of course larger and bigger and more deep than just COVID, is from all political range, if you can say. Um, but also, the other side is also very, I mean, there's a lot of religious people who are all the way into the narrative, from Orthodox Jews to, דתיים לאומיים, like, um, yeah, and also of course the left, in the what we called in Israel the left, which I guess I'm a part of as far as some of my views. There are a lot of people who are into the narrative also. So there's a big division there, and the biggest one that you can see is we all. I was a part of this the movement against Netanyahu, Balfour, the all the protests against him. Um, in a way, I still am. I still think he's bad news, but we were very united in this. And after he went away, and the new government formed, some of us saw that nothing really, well, it's not true that nothing really changed, because he's really worse than everything. But as far as the COVID, the green passport, all that stuff that we thought the new government will fight against, or at least try to fight against, we realized nothing is going on. So I found myself underneath the house. I'm very activist on the streets also. So underneath the house of Horowitz's place. He's the Ministry of Health, Minister of Health, and he's a Meretz. He was the leader of Meretz. He's now stepping back.
Meretz is
and Meretz,
the leftist party, the left wing.
the
Yeah,
left wing
clarify.
party,
Yeah.
which is the left wing, which is still Jewish in a way. I mean, not like the Arab parties. I was voting for Meretz since I'm 18 years old, and all of a sudden I found myself underneath his place calling him to resign. So for me, the shift was very big, but it wasn't a shift from left to right, or from one party to the other. It's just realizing that something is way bigger is happening here, uh, bigger than political rivalries and bigger than politicians. And then I started to dig, and I've started to doing all my videos around that. So that was my shift. Efrat is also, I'm not going to speak for her, but she's on my views, what you can call left. You know, I don't know what to, all those definitions seem so kind of weird now, but I can tell you what I am for. So I am for human rights for everyone, including Palestinians. I can see the problems there. I can see the problems here, but that is my views. I'm a non-religious person. I'm not anti-religion. I'm just anti the bad stuff that comes from it sometimes, as it comes from, as we're seeing now, from the science community. I mean, some bad stuff is happening from there too. So for me, the change is not to judge anything, related to, like, people are religious, so they're like XYZ or whatever, but to see things as they are, um, see who I'm facing, who's in front of me, and trying to erase all those signs. I remember when we were going, after the Canadians started doing their thing with the truckers. Israel has done the freedom convoy also, and we were in the Jerusalem, and I was with my equipment, and we were moving. I've done a lot of videos from there, and there was one part when we were marching through the city of Jerusalem with, all the people in the street, we had a camp behind the Knesset, and then the camp was violently evicted by the police. Very violent eviction, all of a sudden. There was families, kids, unbelievable what happened there. But I remember as I was filming, I went with the camera, my camera to video camera to a car with a religious Orthodox Jew with, the beard and, all the kids in the car. And I have this part, I'll send it to you. It's the end of the movie and end of the video. And he's looking at the whole bunch of people, left wing, right wing, everybody's marching together. And he says to the camera that Judaism is not about symbol, it's not about the tzitzit or the tefillin or whatever. It's about the unity. It's about, and he pointed to the people, it's about that. And that was a very moving moment for me, realizing, first of all, that I'm guilty as the next person of sometimes judging people who are not like me, who do not look like me, who do not share my beliefs. And I think, and I told you that in a way, I think it's an opportunity to manage the gap between religious people and non-religious people, between right and left. I mean, the clash will always happen eventually when it comes to dealing with issues that we do not agree on. But I think that maybe there's a way here to do that more civilized, and to open a discussion. And that's a big thing for me, I'm very disappointed with many of my friends, which I called liberals, that I thought that when, push comes to shove, they will stand for human rights. And I realized that, they pick and choose their battles depending on what they decide the right battle is. And for me, I am a person that will fight for human rights and animal rights, no matter what the subject is. It could be COVID, it could be, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it could be anything. You said children in Africa, it doesn't really matter for me. That's the thing that drives me, and also the pursuit of the truth. What's true, what's false, and what we're seeing these past 2 years is really unbelievable. And I keep saying in my videos, unless we will be able to unite and try to manage, skip the gaps between us, we won't have a chance, because they have all the money, all the power and everything, and we need to find a way.
In fact, I want to actually bring it full circle. Frank and I,
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Wait,
no.
I just want one sentence.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to say just one thing, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm sorry, but I am sorry that we've kept it civilized, but that we can't do this subject because we talked about other stuff. I think it's important that it's really important that people like you and I speak to each other on the touch the nerve, because it will eventually happen. We will eventually have to deal with that. I think it's a rare opportunity, so I apologize if some of the things that I'm saying probably turn your stomach. I understand it, because I know that sometimes the opposite way, it's the same, okay? So for me, it's really important to let you know that this discussion is not a thing that happens a lot, even rarely happens, and I think it's really important that it does happen. That's it.
Avi,
me and Zvi have a podcast we call the Truth Fanatics.
I want to say something to that. Like, first of all, I want to tell you that I have a friend. Thank you for your sentiments. And I have a friend who lives in Beit El. He's what you call a Choser B'Tshuva from America. He's religious, Rav Kook, Dati Leumi guy. And of all people, he organizes discussions, grassroots discussions. He'll invite people from, like, Israelis from Tel Aviv, Arabs, both Christian and Muslim, from wherever, anywhere, and people like himself. I attend. So I can tell you that I'm personally used to having these discussions. For me, it's not such a, it was a little bit triggering, not so bad. I'll just tell you, man, real quick. Frank and I had the podcast Truth Fanatics, and Truth Fanatics means that we say, we're unfiltered. We say what's on our mind. And I will just tell you honestly, Avi, I want to thank you because, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way. Frank and I, due to our experiences, maybe religious beliefs, maybe Torah, whatever it is, we don't have the same, as much as we don't like seeing children dying, right? But we are very realist. We don't have the same, I'm going to use the term, bleeding heart for people who want to kill us or whoever, right? For Arabs, as you do. However, I think the fact that you've managed to take this bleeding heart aspect of that you have of yourself and transfer it to the work that you're doing with the situation that we're in with this COVID and vax, because ultimately people ask me all the time, Tzvi, are you like, I had friends in Israel, right-wing friends, they're like, dude, you sound like a leftist. I'm like, what are you talking about? Most of the people who are anti-vaccine in America are right-wing. I don't understand. So you're using that because you care about humanity. You care about, you care about people. Yeah, it is a human issue. Forget about left-wing and right-wing. It's just a human issue. It's affecting everybody. And honestly, I think it's, if every person, so to speak, in your camp, I guess, if you want to call it a camp, I hate putting things into camps, thought like you did, and actually put their money and their actions where their mouth is, because all I hear from them, there's an actress, her name is Roseanne Barr here in America. She calls it the fake left. These people are the fake left. Nitzan, Horowitz, all these people, they're fake. If you want to say that you're a left-wing guy, at least you're a real one. The people that there's a term, bleeding heart liberal in America. Okay, so you're a bleeding heart leftist in Israel, but at least you're a real one. At least you're doing something. It's consistent across the board. They're not saying, oh, we care about this and we care about that, but screw everybody else who took the vaccine and people with vaccine injuries, and go fly a kite. We don't care about you. We don't want to hear about you. This is what the left is doing. It's doing it in Israel. It's doing it in America. So yes. I just want to say I appreciate that about you, about Efrat, I guess. I don't know where she holds on other issues, but at the end of the day, people are real. And I do appreciate this discussion. Obviously the discussion can go on forever, but Jews like to debate and little.
Yeah, but I want to get the last word.
and Laurie, I want you to say something as well. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that I am a bleeding heart, Greg.
Okay.
I just wish that the people who call themselves bleeding heart would also care about my child as much as they care about, the child of the people who are trying to kill me and my child. I think that's fair, right?
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is, just to switch gears for a moment, and because I have Avi here hostage and he has to listen to something religious now, so that's going to be fun. But if you were to study the Torah, if you were to sit down through and go through Tanakh with the Perushim, all the commentaries, and get a true understanding of what it's actually saying. Nobody's asking you to believe it or not. Just understand what is the vision. Here's what you would have. You would have a land of Israel. You would have a Jewish king, and there would also be obviously administrative part of the government. And you would have Jewish people living there, and you would have as many non-Jews as they desire coming to live in the land of Israel with the status of something called Ger Toshuv. This is a non-Jewish person who, for whatever reason, he wants to come. He's from Ireland, he's from Kenya, whatever. He wants to come and he wants to live in Israel. He wants to be near Jews. He wants to study Torah. He wants to be near the Shekhinah. Okay, this is the vision. So he can come and live. And in fact, forget the religious, the Torah's standpoint, that's what Israel is for. Israel is kind of like supposed to be kind of like a colonial Williamsburg. I don't think you're going to understand that reference. That's like this. You have this place where you go to in Virginia, where you can go and see how people lived in the 1700s. You see the people churning butter and all that. It's not a perfect metaphor, but it's a theme park for God. Israel is supposed to be a theme park for God, for people to come who want to stay. They can stay and live. If they have to agree, obviously, to keep the 7 laws of Noah, which is pretty reasonable if you look at them, and that's it. Okay, so in the Torah's vision, you have anybody who wants to living in Israel under certain conditions, which I don't see how anybody could have a problem with it. Follow 7 laws, very, very, very straightforward. Okay, and don't kill anyone. Okay, that's what the Torah says. Now compare that to what's going on and what everybody else is talking about. That's it. I just wanted to leave it at that.
And Laurie, I guess I'll give you the last word and then we'll wrap up. And yeah.
Okay, well, this was a great discussion, great conversation. Avi, thank you so much for sharing with us your heart and what the extension of your concern for humanity. And I think we all feel the same way. And I would close with, what Frank said, that we know that the Tanakh is very clear that there is going to be a place where Israel will live. They will serve Hashem, and the nations of the world will come and be blessed by his presence as well. It is unfortunate that nations of the world don't want that reality to happen, because that's when the whole world will know peace. It's very clear that the nations of the world will come and worship Hashem on his holy mountain. And that's, I think, I know where I'm coming from. I'm trying to educate people to understand what does the Tanakh say and how it will benefit the world once that kingdom is established.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Avi, for joining us. I mean, I just want to tell you, man, and I wrote this to you in private just now, that this discussion is going to, I personally think it's going to just blow up whatever narrative people thought they thought about this vaccine issue or anything else. It's going to blow it up, because you literally, for the past hour, we just saw people disagreeing about an issue, people who agree about the biggest issue of our time disagreeing about other issues. And we understand that it's not left versus right. It's just humanity, and that can agree on one thing, that none of us want to be killed by doctors and the medical establishment and politicians. Yes, we disagree on certain things, but ultimately we all want to live. And it flies in the face of all their nonsense, all their BS, pardon my language. So I just want to thank you for joining us, man. Keep up.
Avi, continue to serve God. Reality.
Yeah, that's it. And thank you.
My pleasure.